what did John Kerry have to say about that? So John Kerry was meeting with some rebels, some people who wanted to overturn the Assad regime. Why do they call it a regime? Why do they call it? It's the fucking government, right? Oh, I know why they call it the regime, because it makes it easier to do some fucking nefarious shit in that guy's country if you refer to it as a regime. Okay, well, here is John Kerry talking to a bunch of people who want to change the regime, and listen what he says the problem is. This is what John Kerry thinks the problem is in Syria.
We've been fighting. How many wars have we been fighting? We've been fighting in Afghanistan. We've been fighting in Iraq.
I like how, first of all, I like that the Secretary of State of America goes, how many fucking wars are we fighting?
I mean, you should see my frequent flyer miles.
I mean, Jesus Christ, we're in fucking Syria, Afghanistan, fucking Iraq, what the fuck? Where the fuck ain't we fighting? Are you on my right or my fucking right? Isn't that weird that he said that? That's the goddamn Secretary of State. Like, holy shit, I got nothing to do with it. All of a sudden, I wake up, we're in fucking 14 wars.
I can't afford to go to sleep.
Yeah, the guy before me was an asshole. Oh, that was Secretary Clinton.
Whoa. That's the fucking president you're talking about.
You know, Jimmy, you can put down wars, but have you seen what they've done for the stocks, for the prosthetics market?
That is so tragically fucking funny. That is tragic. But it is true. Let's
That's
listen
why
to
I invested in permanent helmets.
I don't even know. They make permanent helmets?
I just assume so. I assume that there's guys who've had their skull taken off and they have to have a permanent helmet.
I
can dream. I have little dreams.
I saw Private Ryan after taking an edible. Worst fucking day of my life. Worst day of my life. Worst day. I had no idea what that movie was about. I thought it was a love story starring Meg Ryan. I swear to God, that's what I thought.
I think you should take an edible and watch The Apple. It's more fun.
I don't know what that is, but let's listen to John Kerry one more time. What's the problem in Syria?
We've been fighting. How many wars have we been fighting? We've been fighting in Afghanistan. We've been fighting in Iraq. We've been fighting, in the region for 14 years. And a lot of Americans don't believe that we should be fighting and sending young Americans over to die in another country. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Did you hear what he said at the end?
He said, how many wars have we been fighting? We've been fighting in Afghanistan. We've been fighting in Iraq. We've been fighting, in the region for 14 years. And a lot of Americans don't believe that we should be fighting and sending young Americans over to die in another country. That's the problem.
That is the problem. John Kerry said that's the problem. Like right now we're fighting in I don't know how many fucking wars. The problem is that Americans don't want to send young men and women to die in any more wars. That's the problem. You know, it's always a problem when young people don't want to die anymore. Isn't that always a problem?
I mean,
Jim?
Oh, let me just say this before you say that. If the problem is young people don't want to die in another country, I think the solution is to send eager old men like John Kerry and John fucking McCain.
fuck yeah.
I think that. Representative Martin, you had something to say.
I was just going to say, okay, you don't want young men and women to join the armed forces and go fight. Then who do you propose advertises during football games?
Oh, no shit, huh?
That's true. There goes the NFL.
No shit.
It's not worth it to lose the NFL. It's not worth it.
And, as far as ISIS, we need to take them very, very seriously. There may only be a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand of them, but these people are animals. These people are animals. What kind of a human being kills innocent civilians and doesn't take their natural resources? That's a nonsensical animal. That's what that is.
That's what that is.
With a terrible business sense.
Has anybody heard that audio of John Kerry saying that before?
Who is he talking to?
He was talking to
It's Oprah.
He was talking to Oprah. No, he was talking to the people who want to overthrow Assad and he was at some consulate. I don't know, and somebody recorded it.
Oh, it wasn't supposed to be recorded.
No. So that's why it sounds like shit. Yeah.
iPhones.
Yeah, thank God for the iPhones. And you know what? Remember when John Kerry was he was trying to tell Code Pink that they should be behind bombing ISIS? Do you remember that? Remember he was Code Pink was heckling him, and he said, you know, if you're for educating women, you should be for bombing ISIS because ISIS doesn't educate their women. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, you invented pro-women education bombs? How does that work? Do they explode and Kindles fly out of them? oh, look! Thanks to America bombs, I get to learn about math and imperialism.
That's a really good Arab accent.
I can't do accents.
I loved Rich Little as a kid, and I feel like I'm listening to him again.
Every stupid thing starts out Irish, and then it ends like it just ended.